Just close your eyes and soak in the sound of John Coltrane playing Blues to Elvin from John Coltrane's famous album Coltrane Plays the Blues. I came to this album way too late, but I found it. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate or advanced player, I really recommend you to check out this album because it says everything about the blues. If you want a solid blues foundation, if you're tired on just relying on pentatonic scales, and if you're searching for original and expressive blues lines, this is the album for you. So stay with me. I'll walk you through plenty of examples in this video, but to really log on to the Coltrane sound, I recommend you to download the lesson manual on Patreon. Grab it so you can read along while you're watching the video, that you can read all the examples, that you can play them, and this betters your understanding so much more, making you able to pause whenever you need it. Grab the lesson manual on Patreon. The download link is in the description just below. Most jazz blues are played over a relatively simple form, a 12-bar blues, and in a simple blues you can just use 3 dominant chords. On C blues, C7, F7, G7. But if you stick to these basic shapes, it really gets boring really fast. Step 1. Listen to John Coltrane, of course. When listening to John Coltrane, when he kicks in on those 2 tones in the beginning, wow! So when you play these 2 tones, these are much more exciting than just the arpeggio up, but there's much more here than just 2 chord tones. If you start to add the Coltrane rhythm, the triplet rhythm, there's much more to it, and you get a much stronger feeling of the phrase. Suddenly, it's not an exercise anymore. Because of the slow tempo, I can refer to the triplets in the beat. Furthermore, you see that I'm using a lot of repeated notes, which gives a stronger melodic line. And before some of the bars, you see that I have an approach into the new bar. That's to prepare this bar, kind of forward motion. How Coltrane is using this is preparing for the next sound, and it kind of gives an anticipation. Playing examples like this, I need you to loop it and play it many times, many rounds through the blues to get the sound, to get that feel, really to get it into your fingers and your mind. If you check out bar 4, you see that I play a small expansion, so I'm not only playing the 2 notes anymore, I'm doing more of a Coltrane thing. Listen to this. Coltrane, of course, immediately expands the sound from the 2 notes. So let's expand it a little bit. Let's move on to the triads. And these are just good old triads from the 5th down and repeating the 5th at the end. There's a lot of exercises I've left out of this video, because it'll take a long time to play all these exercises, but they are all in the lesson manual on Patreon. You will find detailed workouts of all these patterns through the blues form, full blues form solos for you. Get the lesson manual on Patreon. With this new material, you should immediately start crafting your own line. Really, grab your instrument and play these amazing but simple lines. They're quite easy to play, you just have to get your fingers and your head around it. Again, at the end of this line, you will hear a signature John Coltrane move, repeating notes in the arpeggio. These repeating notes really lock onto the chord function because you're just playing up and down that chord back and forth. This way of playing your chords clarify the harmony and it's very powerful sound. If you're wondering where this B flat went from the last example, don't worry, I haven't forgotten it. Here it comes. In another blues on the album Coltrane Plays the Blues, Blues to Bichet, the tempo picks up a little bit and new patterns emerge. So I promised you to add the 7th. And when you have played the blues without the 7th for a while, the 7th is suddenly a complete new sound and it's really exciting. How about taking this pattern for a spin through the blues form? I'm I'm still using the earlier approaches, so as repeating tones and up and down these chords. And, of course, I want to challenge you, so I'm adding something new. If you noticed it, it's the chromatic note. These chromatic tones work beautifully before or in between some tones. They give a great tension towards what you are going to play. And as it has become a tradition in this video, I've changed the last pattern in this line. Yes, it's just a descending arpeggio. What's so special about this? Well, it sounds completely different than the ascending arpeggio. When you start training this pattern, you'll hear how strong it is, even though it's so simple. To me, it's very clear that the descending arpeggio is a very strong pattern and the sound is very surprising, as opposed to the arpeggio just going up. Another benefit about the descending arpeggio is it's right there. You probably already practiced it 1,000 times. So use it, apply it into your music. I've skipped a little ahead again. I have already played some of the patterns I want to introduce you for. So we have the pattern from before, the E, C and B flat, the 3rd, root and 7th going up. But we can turn this around so it's a little bit simpler than in the lines. Now you have the E, the C and the B flat going down. 3rd, root, 7th. When you started working with these basic chord tones, you'll hear how strong they are, and just flipping one pattern around makes a whole difference. What it also does, it balances out these other ideas. They are adding towards each other's sound. And now I cannot get around this pattern anymore. I'm adding the 5th below, so you have 3rd, root, 5th, 7th going down. With this pattern you can build these descending lines connecting into each other from the 7th to the 3rd and so on. This way of connecting your dominants is classical Coltrane logic. Get into these Coltrane blues patterns. I've packed the lesson manual on Patreon with all these patterns and many more. Best of all is I have written out full form etudes on the blues where I'm using these patterns that you already have trained. So little training model and then adding them into the blues. Grab and go is right there. Download the lesson manual PDF on Patreon. The link is in the description right below. If you're ready to go further down the Coltrane rabbit hole, check out this video. I dive into this genius Coltrane scale approach. Play music, have fun.